This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Grant, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And those three guys, Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, all played at the same time, and each team thought they had the best center fielder. And I got to see two of those guys play. I saw Duke Snyder play and hit a home run off the old clock in the older stadium in St. Louis. And then one time, somehow, this wouldn't happen today, but there were rainouts, and the Cardinals and Giants played 4 games in 2 days. Are we getting an alert? Are y'all hearing this alert?
Yeah, we're getting an alert. I know that there's been a man wanted for homicides that has last been seen in Morrilton. This is the second time I've gotten this emergency alert today. So that's what everybody just heard through the microphones. I'm sure the listeners got it too.
But anyway, so they played consecutive doubleheaders. So we got to see 4 games in 2 days, and I got to see Willie Mays play 4 games. I don't remember a whole lot about. I was young then, but. And then later on, Mike Irwin and I were talking about this yesterday. Willie Mays attended an Arkansas football game at War Memorial Stadium. He was representing Valley, and I don't remember what year, I don't remember what game it was, but
I saw Mike write about this. Yeah, Grant, he said it was it was Arkansas versus Navy.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And I think it was at halftime, but the SID arranged for him to, to kind of meet the media a little bit. It was informal, kind of scrum, but probably 15 or 20 of us, got to converse with, in fact, Mike was telling me he saw him when he came off the elevator and talked to him for quite a little bit that night. But that was interesting. Mays was confused why the game was in Little Rock. He didn't understand why we weren't playing on the campus,
Yeah.
So that was explained to him. And, the guy, when you think about that, he missed almost 2 full years in the military. The next 2 years, he hit a total of 90-something home runs in those 2 years. And if he'd have done that the 2 years he missed, he would have been up there with Aaron and Bond's territory at 5'10", 170 pounds.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you'd mentioned Willie was working for Bally, the Bally Corporation, when he came into Little Rock. I watched an interview, and I've got a soundbite to play later on the show. It's from the Warner Wolf Show from 1975, and it's the 3 of them sitting there on a couch. Mickey on the far end, Duke in the middle, and Willie Mays on the other side. And I remember, I don't know the year that it happened, but, keep in mind, I don't think Willie Mays might have made more than $125,000 a year as a ball player in his career. This is before the union and before free agency, and they didn't really have any leverage. So when he completed his career, he had to get a job. He needed to work, and he was a special assistant, might have been a coach, but he was a greeter at a casino, and I guess it was Bally in Las Vegas. Mantle was too, and the both of them ended up getting. I think they were banned from baseball for a year because of their association with gambling. Now we've got a team that wants to move to Vegas, and just amazing to think about that.
Yeah, different times. They were going to do this thing. Well, they're still doing it Thursday at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, where Willie Mays played for the Black Barons team, and now I'm sure it'll be a massive tribute to him. But he had hoped to be there, and so I think the day before he died, they announced that he wasn't going to be able to be there. But that'll be something worth seeing when the Cardinals and the Giants play there tomorrow. And I read, Phil, that they had added 10 hits to his total up to 3.293.
That's right. Based
on his time, but that sounds to me like he must have had more than 10 hits for that team, and maybe there weren't good records. But anyway, there you go.
Well, it's a sad. Everybody is sad here because he passed away. But it also feels much more like a celebration of someone's career, of somebody's life. I felt the same way, with Jerry West, with Bill Walton. Walton might have been taken a little earlier, than I think a lot of people would have liked, maybe with West too. But, at a point like that, what I hear, and I even hear it from you, Grant, and I hear it when my dad talks about it. It was the same as what Matt had said when he was traveling with Dean Weber to Birmingham, and they run into Jerry West. Those are men that turn grown men into little boys again. Just hearing you talk about it, I can hear that too.
Yeah, I think West was 86, and I think Walton was 71, and of course Willie 93. Of all the stories, I was listening last night on MLB, and they had Bob Costas on there, and he said that in 1964, when Johnny Keane managed the Cardinals, and that was the year they won the World Series, beat the Yankees, but he had a policy that anytime Willie Mays was trying to score, you never tried to throw him out, because what he would do is he would pace it where he would make the other team think they had a chance and throw him, and then the other base runners would advance time after time. That's how smart he was as a base runner. He never looked at the base coach. He could run full speed looking backwards, had that cap that was one size too small and always fell off. And, of course, the great catch in 54, robbing Vic Wirth. I think there were 2 runners on base. And everybody who knows baseball has seen that a million times. It's still just, it's mind-blowing. And the thing about it was he said, I knew I was going to catch it, but then I knew I had to keep the runner, I think it was Larry Doby, from scoring from second base. It was like 460 out there at center in the Polo Grounds, I think. And that was kind of his wow moment, I guess.
There probably were other players that you would say were, and I think there is a sixth tool in baseball. And when you describe, Mays's, reason for essentially baiting the fielders to try to throw him out when he knew that they couldn't, so his guys could get an extra base. That's the sixth tool. That's the knowledge of how to play the game, in order to get an extra base. But he was, to me, I know that there were a lot of other players before him that could do all 5 things, and maybe the sixth tool too. But he's the prototypical. When you say 5-tool player, I think people have Willie Mays in mind more than anyone else.
Yeah, and he would play an hour or 2 of stickball in the morning on days of games, and then they said walk a couple of miles to the field and then play baseball. So, yeah, just a legendary guy, and but a good long life, 93 years.
Yeah, Ryan in Prairie Grove does make a valid point. Now, when you think about how deep it was to straightaway center at the Polo Grounds, 450 feet, and where Mays caught that ball was on the warning track, maybe the most impressive part was the spin and the throw, because he still had a guy. He had a guy at second base. He kept him at second base. I mean, that goes along with it.
Harry Carey, when he did Cardinals baseball for 28 years before moving to other places, but I remember when he would always talk about how Mays would beat you in a game situation, and he claimed one time that the best they could tell, he threw from deep center field all the way to home plate on the fly. No relay guy when he threw a guy out at the plate. That's a long way to throw a baseball. Yeah,
really, really is. Or we can move on to some other things here while we got you. Reaction to Bryson DeChambeau's win at the U.S. Open, and of course that has to go along with, and these two are going to be tied together till the end of time now. Rory McIlroy's kind of crumbling on the back nine, and your reaction to those things.
Yeah, and I was really rooting hard for Rory. I really like him. I'm not wild about live golf. You can't deny that it was a great performance by DeChambeau, hitting that clutch shot on the last hole. And by the way, Johnson Wagner, who was replicating shots all week, went out there in the dark and hit it to a foot that night. After, DeChambeau said he might hit that shot 4 or 5 times out of 100, and Johnson Wagner went out there and did it on the second take. So that was kind of with Bryson watching. He stayed there half the night. I mean, he had let everybody touch the trophy. He's really learned, and it's been an intentional thing to how to interact with fans, and he's become very popular that way. And of course, everybody likes the guy that hits the long ball. But Rory had the thing until he missed those 2 putts. He missed a 2.5 footer on 16, or was it 60? Yeah, and then a 3.5 footer on 18. The putt on 18, I think, just broke more than he thought. I think he hit it right where he wanted to. But go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think anything would have been different, Grant, if those two would have been in the same group together for that final round?
That's a great question, Matt, and we I wanted that to happen. I mean, that would have been fantastic. I think maybe it hurt Roy a little bit hearing the cheers. A couple of times he had to back off shots, and so then he kind of knew, I better do this here now, and it might have been better for him if he could have been in that group with him. Yeah.
And it was a really good battle. I don't know how much if Rory collapsed or choked or anything. I mean, he was 396 out of 396. He missed that putt, but man, he was hitting the ball great. And it just happens out there. And he actually shot 2 strokes better than DeChambeau on that final round. He was under par.
That's what will get lost. He shot 69 and Bryson shot 71. And he had some loose iron shots that day, but he also made 5 really good putts, 5 birdies, and he may have making 15, 20, 25 footers through there. So, but he was out of there in 52 minutes, and now he's taking some time off, probably about 3 weeks, just to regather himself mentally.
If you're in the NBA, Grant, are you scared? Are you nervous that Boston's going to go on a run here? We know they made a finals 2 years ago, got beat by the great Golden State Warriors. 101 games this year, Grant. 50 of them they had a 20-point lead in. That's just unbelievable. You think there's Dallas have a better chance to make it back, or Boston have a better chance to repeat?
I don't know. That's a good question. It kind of depends on roster, and it's hard to dynasties these days to keep players on the same team for numbers of years. So I would say they have a decent chance to come back into it. By the way, Matt, congratulations on the University of Arkansas. I know you don't like to talk about yourself and your accomplishments, but much deserved. And I saw this one stat that I'm not even. Do you know this? You were second in yards per play in SEC history to Danny Warfel, who I think won the Heisman Trophy for Florida. So that's pretty good company. That's you're underrated, man. Congratulations.
Well, I appreciate it. I had a lot of great teammates, and it was a lot of fun up there. Thanks, Grant.
I want to say one more thing to you guys. If I don't know how much time we have left, but there's a new executive director of the Arkansas State Golf Association. He's 28 years old. Carson Roberts of Conway. Played at Washburn University like Gary Woodland did for a while, and they had the father and son state tournament the last 2 days at Fayetteville Country Club and Paradise Valley. And yesterday Carson Roberts came around, and I don't know how many groups he did this with, but he introduced himself to the 6 players in our group. And we played sixsums because there were a lot of teams. But he succeeds Jay Fox, who did a great job all those years, and Monk Wade before him. And I understand that they're going to place a bigger emphasis on junior golf, which I think is great. And I think it's forward thinking by the ASGA to put a 28-year-old guy in there. And he seems, just from meeting him yesterday, very personable.
Well, that's great. I know Jay somewhat. We live in the same area, and I've bumped into him in Little Rock quite a few times. So I know he did an amazing job. 33 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and about the last 5, I'm not sure he really wanted to go the last few, but there was no one that could sort of replace him. But now they found this guy, and good luck to him.
Grant, always appreciate you hopping on with us on these Wednesdays. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. See you.
Thank you, Grant.
It's Grant Hall with us each Wednesday on Halftime.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.